against legal tender. So with that, that is not overwhelming. It's a significant task, but that is, I think, a way you can work transitional programs. The other dilemma we have as true believers of freedom and the Constitution is, what do you do with a generation or two of people who have become totally dependent on government largesse and handouts? Do we immediately dump them out into the streets? Money had been taken to a lot of individuals over the year with the so-called contract. We're going to take your money, we're going to give it back to you in your retirement. Of course, the government's never very good at following contracts. They tend to break that contract, just like they did in promising to pay in gold. They just reneged on that. And now they're reneging on paying back even Social Security funds. Because the elderly who are getting their so-called Social Security money back, they're getting less back because they're never going to be able to keep up with the inflation rate. And they get less back than the cost of living is going up. So what do we do? How do we do this? If we want to cut back, and we say that the first goal is to reverse this trend, stop the increase in size of government. No more growth in government. We have to cut spending so we don't attack the person who is in a home getting Social Security and getting Medicare, because it's just not going to work politically. But there is a way to do this. I believe the numbers are there, but there's something that we have to do very significantly. And this is, along with monetary policies, the other issue that I've talked about the most. And that is, we don't need a little tinkering with our foreign policy. We need a complete change in our foreign policy. A recent study showed that to manage our foreign policy around the world, it's close to $1 trillion a year. Just the war in Iraq has come up to about $1 trillion already and growing. Just yesterday or the day before, Senator McCain, I think he's running for some office, and he had an explanation of the foreign policy that he likes. He thinks if it's necessary, we ought to stay in Iraq for 100 years. And I say, no way. But so our policies have to be different. Even if the people concede to that, it's not possible, because that will bring us down. All the empires end, not because because armies come and invade. We didn't need to invade the Soviet Union to have this collapse. It collapsed for economic reasons, and that's what will happen to us. But I say we look at this $1 trillion obligation overseas and start willing away quickly. We can do that. We can do that by first ending the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and getting out of the promise those other countries, Iran and Pakistan and the rest of them, that we're not going to tell them what to do with their countries and come home from all those countries. I believe if we're able to win this election and get a weekend behind our belts and make this announcement, policies are going to change. We're coming out. We're going to remove our Navy. There are no first strike options against Iran. And the people believed it, and the markets believed it, realizing the expenditures were going to go down, and there would be less chance of a new world war going on. I think immediately the dollar would rally, and oil prices would come down just for psychological no other reason. with aggravating and with sanctions and threatening Iran, even with a nuclear first strike. What do we have in Pakistan? We've been interfering and involved with propping up their dictators for a long time. Here we have a dictator, a military dictator, overthrew an elected leader, and here we are spending all our lives and money over there spreading democracy, and then we support a guy like Musharraf to the tune of $10 billion. What a waste! And then what do? How long have we supported Turkey? Yes, we should be friends with Turkey. We should trade with them and talk to them and have diplomatic relations with them. But why give them money and weapons? And what are they using their monies and weapons for now? Invading and bombing Iraq, and we're trying to stabilize Iraq. It makes no sense whatsoever. In Pakistan, what did we do? We orchestrated the return of Bhutto to the country, and just because Bhutto as well as Musharraf are seen but nothing more than puppets, then they wonder why the people turn against the people that we support when we try to micromanage those governments. There are so many advantages to the change in the policy. First thing off, the most important thing, American military people would no longer be killed. Would not be weakened, it would be strengthened by coming down. No matter what you hear on those debates, the threat of terrorism would be greatly reduced. Yes. That's the hot spot of the world, and where we would work on the first few days. The next few days, we send out orders to bring them home from Korea, Japan, and Europe. Bring them I thought it was pretty interesting last night, the question that said, you know, if we can afford $1 trillion overseas expenditures, why can't we afford better health care? Obviously, if we kept $1 trillion and put it in the economy and put it back in your pockets, you might be able to afford your own health care. There's nothing wrong with the advice of the founders and then looking to the Constitution. There's no authority for us to police the world. The founders were very clear about what our foreign policy should be, and that is stay out of the entangling alliances, don't be the policeman in the world, stay out of the internal affairs of other nations. And this is not and shouldn't have been absolutely strange to the Republican Party, but I think the Republican Party leadership, by the way, I think they have lost their way. An old right tradition in the Republican Party that believed that we shouldn't be intervening overseas, that did believe in civil liberties and did believe in fiscal conservatism. And if the Republican Party is to exist and to thrive and to continue to grow, rather than just being diminished in numbers, they have to come around to understanding these issues. They cannot reject these principles and expect to be a viable party. And even though they resist, did you notice that they don't even want me in a debate tonight? So we do have to give credit to the Republican Party of New Hampshire. Might be a relationship with that Fox News channel and some Republican leadership elsewhere around the country. Maybe it's the military-industrial complex. Who knows what the relationship is? But nevertheless, it's obvious where we can save the money, why we can take care of the people, work our way out of this situation, allow especially the young people to opt out of the system. There's no reason why we can't offer the young people a chance to get out of Social Security, but we want to get everybody out of paying income taxes, which would be a tremendous good. a lot of people who like big government, no income tax.